So our agenda for tonight, which we are very excited about. So just a little bit of an overview of who we are here at ITA and what our company does. Definitely going to break down some reasons why you should teach English in Asia from the three of us. We all have different ideas about it. We'll walk you through the basic requirements to be an English teacher in Asia. Those are going to be, a little bit different depending on your country. Types of teaching jobs in Asia. What does it actually look like to teach there? Definitely run through some of those top Asian countries for teaching abroad. And then we'll wrap up with some TEFL certification options. How do you actually get certified for teaching in Asia? And then all of our job search guidance to tie it together. So, how we're going to help you get a job and secure a position teaching in any of these countries like South Korea or Japan or China.
Perfect. And then Q&A again, I'm really excited for this portion. If you've been to our general webinar, you've probably been like, it goes the full hour really. So we're hoping that this one's going to be, really leave maybe at least 20 minutes or so for live Q&A. So don't worry, hang with us. We're going to make sure to get all of our questions answered this evening. So keep sending them to Chelsea and she's noting them all down. So yeah, who we are, we're International TEFL Academy. Again, if you've attended one of our webcasts before, welcome back. We're really, really glad that you're here. If this is your first one, you picked a really good one because again, us three are super excited to be here with you. So yeah, if you know us already, you probably know this, but if you have not, we offer the gold standard in TEFL certification for teaching English abroad. So we offer internationally accredited TEFL classes online and in person. We offer pre-enrollment guidance. So your admissions advisor, who will be talking about a whole lot tonight, you can work with them one-on-one, as many calls as it takes. We'll talk with people 5, 6, 10 times to help them get enrolled in their TEFL class and choose countries that are right for them and map out this plan, get you enrolled in your TEFL class. And then ultimately, we're here to help you through your job search. We have a student affairs department who is there to really work with you, just like your pre-enrollment advisor will, and help you get that job, feel confident in your plan, and get overseas. So that's really who we are. Again, you're going to get a whole lot of info about us as we go on. Here are some of our reviews. We really wanted to make sure to point these out. Check them out. Goabroad.com, Go Overseas, and of course, Google and the Better Business Bureau you've probably heard of. This is really where our alumni can share their stories of working with our company. We really encourage you to check these out and read them and really get some honest feedback from our alumni.
Well, look at that good-looking group of people.
This is nice.
This is us. We have quite an eclectic group of people that work here at ITA. A requirement to work here is that you have taught abroad and that you have traveled and lived overseas extensively. I mean, some of my coworkers are heading 50 countries, 55 countries. One of my coworkers just got back from Antarctica. So really cool people that work here that are very happy to help you guys out. Many of us have taught throughout Asia. And of course, we have thousands of ITA grads that are teaching all over Asia, from China to Thailand to Cambodia to Japan. So, really, we've been in your shoes. We know what it's like to take that plunge and go overseas in someplace wild like Asia. So we're really excited to talk with you, and we definitely care about you and making this dream a reality for you guys.
Awesome. You have a lot of options when it comes to teaching English abroad. So why Asia? You must be interested in Asia at least a little bit, or you wouldn't be here probably. But we do have grads all over the world: Spain, Italy, Costa Rica, Argentina. So why focus your attention on Asia? The largest TEFL marketplace in the world by far, Asia. So definitely a place that makes a lot of sense to be looking at. But we do want to run through some of the benefits and highlight some of those for teaching in Asia specifically. I love that we have this one listed first, but just this eclectic culture in absolutely out of this world scenery, and the food, I'm sure the three of us are going to be talking your ear off about food throughout the evening. I cannot say this enough. It's a place that's really, really cool because every single day I feel like living in Seoul, especially, and of course in Vietnam, you'd see something or you'd hear something or you'd learn something. You're like, I never imagined in my life like this would be what I'm doing right now. It's just crazy. The beauty, the people are out of this world. I was just back visiting some of my students in South Korea. And of course, we're just taking me out to all these wonderful restaurants and always teaching me their culture. So really, really, I can't say enough about the culture you're going to experience in Asia. As much as this might seem a little counterintuitive, Asia really, really is, in my opinion, the best place for first-time teachers and first-time travelers to go. And again, this can seem strange because you look at maybe Europe, you're like, it's close. A lot of my friends and family have probably been there. But really, Asia has, especially these big cities, you look at Seoul and Tokyo and Taipei and Hanoi and Bangkok. These are places that have humongous expat communities, tons and tons of foreign teachers. So it's really easy to make a group of friends. There's a lot of really, really well-established schools. Asia really does lead the way in terms of this whole industry of teaching abroad. So these schools, they know what they're doing. They have a great curriculum, just a great setup for teachers in general. And again, a lot of really wonderful financial benefits as well that we'll definitely be talking about. Travel opportunities, want to highlight that. The three of us, I'm sure we'll talk a lot about this as well, but I was traveling like crazy, especially, of course, in living in Southeast Asia, you're traveling all the time. But living in Korea, I was traveling throughout Korea, hopping to China, Japan, Taiwan. So there's a ton of travel opportunities that are really, really affordable in Asia. Benefits, China and South Korea, free airfare, free housing. Who's not interested in that? I don't know. But this was a really, really nice draw for me, especially being me personally was 21 years old. I didn't have much saved. So this really helped me get this adventure moving a lot faster without having to have a lot of money saved to go. Opportunities to save each month. You are looking in the right place if you want to save money each month while you're teaching and traveling. Anywhere from $200 to $1,200 per month after expenses is what you could save in Asia. I was really easily saving $1,000 every month teaching in Asia. So yeah, this is a great draw if you have student loans or debt or just want to save some money and travel like crazy. Secure a job in advance. We're going to talk about this a lot, but there is a lot of opportunity to interview from home, secure that job while you're still at home. I felt really good about that. I really liked that feeling of getting on the plane and being like, all right, let's do this. I'm TEFL certified. I've got my job. I know where I'm going. Someone's picking me up from the airport. I felt really good about that. And the last thing I'll note is modern cosmopolitan cities. And again, I kind of touched on this with large expat communities. Living in Seoul, with again having some nice benefits, having a lot of time off and some money, pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So yeah, we'll talk a lot about this, but here are some benefits. And again, I could keep going. So there's a lot.
So how to take advantage of all of these benefits? Well, we got to get you over there first. So some basic requirements to teach English in Asia. And you guys, we're going to say this again and again. A lot of people have some unique situations. Each country is going to be a little bit different. So we highly, highly, highly encourage you to get in touch with your advisor to ask them any questions that you have to talk about specifically, your unique situation. But we want to walk through some of the basic requirements to teach English in Asia, even though they do vary a little bit by country, but country by country. Came out wrong. So in a lot of countries in Asia, they do require a 4-year university degree. However, this degree does not need to be in education. I get that question all the time. Your degree could be in journalism, it could be in communications, business, finance. They do not care. They just want to see that you have that piece of paper that says that you have a bachelor's degree. However, if you're really interested in Asia and you do not have a degree, do not worry. There are still lots of opportunities and some amazing opportunities to still teach in Asia. We recommend focusing on China, which is where I taught, and Cambodia, which is actually where I would have liked to have gone next. I have a lot of friends that have visited there and just cannot say enough amazing things about it. So look into those options, talk with your advisor.
Yeah, definitely. And on the university degree, like Amanda said, we get this question a lot. So yeah, do not worry if you do not have a degree in education. And I think the big question too is don't worry if you have never taught before. Like, I mean, I was that person that had a degree in journalism, never taught a day in my life before getting TEFL certified and doing my practice teaching with my TEFL class. So don't worry. As long as you have that university degree, you're really a good fit. And again, Cambodia and China, like Amanda was saying. Okay, cool. So citizenship from a recognized English-speaking nation. So the US, UK, Ireland, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, or South Africa. By and large, you do want to have a citizenship from one of these places I just noted. There are rare exceptions, and I want to just say that. For example, like we've had alumni from Western Europe, European countries get jobs in Japan. European grads get jobs in Vietnam and Cambodia. So I think the big thing, I know we're going to say this a lot, is if you don't have citizenship from one of these 7 nations, talk with your advisor, and he or she can help you talk about your options and see if we can come up with kind of a unique plan for you if you really, really are passionate about getting to Asia. One thing's for sure is we very, very much pride ourselves on giving the honest truth about the whole realities of teaching abroad. So we're definitely going to make sure that we're realistic with you, setting expectations correctly, and making sure that you're looking at countries that you're qualified for. So yeah, talk with your advisor and they can help outline what your realistic expectations, should be.
All right, so background checks. In order to teach in Asia, there's a lot of countries that require a background check. And that's on a national level. So whatever country that you are from, that's where you're going to want to get your background check. If you're from the US, you're going to want to get an FBI background check, and we can definitely walk you through those steps of how to actually go about getting those. Some countries, you guys, you have to have an absolutely clean record. South Korea, if anything comes back on that background check, it's not going to be a good fit. But it's important to note that a lot of the other countries that require the background check, China, Vietnam, it's going to be a case-by-case basis. So if you do have something on your background check that you're concerned about, you guessed it, talk with your advisor about it. They're going to be able to answer your questions. Just be honest about it so that we can help you out. But I also get a lot of questions. What if I have that college drinking ticket on my record from 10 years ago? We all remember, some of those mistakes that we made in college. Or what about a speeding ticket? I am definitely guilty of those around here in Chicago. These are really common concerns. And trust us, if you have some of those things on your record, it really is just going to depend on the country. It's going to depend on the school that you're applying to in terms of what is okay and what is not. So I cannot say it enough. Talk with your advisor about your specific situation and where it is that you want to teach, but you will have lots of opportunities, no matter what comes up.
Awesome. So this is kind of following the similar suit of what Amanda was just saying, but a clean health check and a clean drug test. Some people might have gotten a little nervous right now. Don't be nervous. But I will talk a little bit about my experience with this one specifically in South Korea. And I'm like, for real, my plane landed in Seoul in the morning when I was teaching abroad. First landing there, I've got all my luggage and everything. And I land in Seoul and one of the administrators from the language school I was working for picked me up from the airport and took me like straight to the hospital to get my health check and drug test. So this is for real. There are specific countries, again, like Korea, like Amanda was saying, it is pretty black and white when it comes to Korea. These both need to be completely clear. There are certain countries, again, where you might not do either of these at all. So talk with your advisor and make sure that if these two are a concern for you, that you know what your options are. Again, Korea really is the strict one about this. Chelsea, Amanda, anything to add on this one? I know you guys had similar situations for China and Japan.
Oh, definitely. I had to get a health check the first week I was there, and me being in China, I did not learn one word of Mandarin before I went over there. I had no idea what was going on. They were ushering me from place to place. I found it pretty interesting and kind of amusing. I got my very first ultrasound. Turns out I wasn't pregnant. I don't know what they were checking for, but That was something
Totally.
I got to find out. So definitely they'll do the health check, but I think it's pretty common in a lot of the Asian countries.
Yeah, for me, for Japan, I had to just go to my general doctor ahead of time, and my school gave me a specific form that my doctor had to fill out, and a lot of it was just very basic. What I tell people is, I think they were just trying to see if I was going to drop dead or bring over any contagious diseases over there. So it was more general, but once I got over there during my first year, they did give me a drug test at some point during the school year as well.
Yeah, my health test was basically like a physical, like I think you'd probably call it or compare it to here in the States. So yeah, so this is something that's a really kind of, you just hear it and you see it a lot of times for teaching in Asia. So yeah, talk with your advisor again about this if you're worried about it.
So TEFL certification, strongly preferred. China, it's required. You're actually going to find that in most reputable schools in Asia, they're going to require that you have a TEFL certification, because what it does is that it shows you that not only are you an English speaker, which is great, but that you can actually teach people the English language. And when you're, standing in front of children and their parents have paid for their kids to go there, they want to make sure that you know how to teach them and that you're not just some backpacker who's looking to travel the world and happen upon teaching English, but that you're actually a trained professional who's ready to run a classroom. Most people that you interview with, most companies, most schools, it's going to be the first thing that you're going to talk about. It's going to be the first thing that's on your resume. So it's definitely something that employers are looking for, but also as a teacher, you want to walk into a classroom and you feel comfortable. You're already in this new country, you're experiencing all these crazy new things, and you don't want to be stressed out when you walk into a classroom and you have 15 adorable little Asian faces looking at you, ready to learn something for the next 45 minutes. You want to feel really prepared. So TEFL certification, not only are the schools looking for it, but it should definitely be something that you're looking to do so that you're prepared in the classroom.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one big thing that if you're going to check out the reviews I was talking about at the beginning, the big word that we see over and over again from our alumni is confidence. And my TEFL class and my TEFL certification gave me the confidence I needed to go teach English abroad. And for me, I can definitely talk on that point. Again, having a background in journalism, like my old job, I was like wearing headphones and editing all day, not talking to anybody. So quite a contrast, from then standing in front of, I was teaching business professionals. And so standing in front of a room of men in suits in their 50s and 60s, you better believe I was pretty glad to have that professional training to be able to run a classroom and command a classroom, and really know what I was doing and provide a good, experience for my students. So yeah, we'll talk more about this, but definitely something that you really want to have. And just kind of want to hit on some other considerations for teaching English abroad in general. Hiring seasons is a word that you will, kind of hear now and again, and you'll see it on our website. So when is the best time of year to go to Thailand or Vietnam or China? When is the best time to find a job? Some countries in Asia, and this is really kind of unique to this part of the world in general, but you look at Korea or China, there's really not like a bad time of year to find a job there because the demand is so high. You look at somewhere like Thailand or Vietnam, they do kind of have those distinct hiring seasons. So you want to make sure that you're planning around those, planning your TEFL class, planning getting that background check that takes a few months, for example. So hiring seasons is one thing to kind of jot down in your notes and take into consideration. Interview procedure. By and large, for Asia, you are going to be doing that interview over Skype, like I was talking about earlier, or Skype or some video platform. There's like a million now. But, so something like from home, a video chat, throw on a nice shirt sort of thing, probably wake up super early. But yeah, so interview, typically in advance. You'll see some face-to-face now getting really popular in parts of Southeast Asia. Your advisor can guide you on that if you are interested in, say, Cambodia, Thailand, or Vietnam. Types of students, hey, maybe you're really passionate about teaching business professionals. Maybe you really want to teach kids. Certain countries definitely have specific demand. For the most part, Asia, we really associate with teaching young learners, so teaching, elementary school, middle school age children, maybe a little younger. That being said, if you are really, really passionate about teaching adults, there are, of course, always exceptions. I was teaching, again, business professionals in Seoul for nearly 2 years. So I really, really enjoyed that. I just much preferred that. So definitely, certain schools certainly do have that. It's just not as common maybe as kids in Asia. So yeah, here I go again, talk to your advisor, but they can definitely guide you on this, and your job search advisor can also help you as well. One thing I really wanted to note as well is age when it comes to Asia. It's definitely not set in stone. It's definitely not a rule, but Asia certainly does have a preference for teachers between the ages of 21 and 35. If you are older than 35, does that mean Asia's a complete no-go? No, but it does mean that you should talk with your advisor and make sure that you are familiar with what these rules are. Schools, for example, in South Korea and China, this age requirement is really not so much a school rule as it is a rule to qualify to get the specific work visa that you'll need. So yeah, talk with your advisor about this. We have a class that we offer in Vietnam that might be a great fit for you if you're over the age of 35. Cambodia would be a nice fit for you if you're over the age of 35. So yeah, we'll talk about this more at the end, but just wanted to note it real quick.
And to go a little bit off of what Jessie said, she had a unique experience where she was teaching business professionals in South Korea. And I have to tell you, in China, there are so many opportunities once you're there for extra jobs and side jobs. I taught a college class while I was teaching high school. So I taught the college class on the weekends. So there's just lots of different opportunities once you're in the country as well. So it's pretty cool. So kind of going off of that, what are the types of teaching jobs in Asia? So a little bit of a rundown of what you can expect, of the different schools and places you can teach while you're teaching there. So private language schools is going to make up the majority of jobs throughout Asia. In South Korea, they're called hagwons. You may have heard of that. It's really popular. In other countries, there's other names, but private language schools are incredibly popular in these countries. So many Asian students are learning English, and they learn it all year long. I've never actually seen students study more than South Korean students. They are in school all the time, and they place such a high importance on learning English. So if you hit all of the requirements and you want to go to South Korea, language schools, they hire year round, and you're just going to have your choice of where it is that you want to teach and the school that you want to teach in. They really just wanted you teaching there yesterday. So there's a really high demand for those positions. Some of the cool things about teaching in a private language school is that there's a lot of other English teachers teaching there. I know that in my school in China, there were 8 of us, and that was my very first group of friends when I got to China, and it was immediate. I mean, within a month, we were actually traveling to Korea together. I don't even think I knew their last names, but everyone, wanted to hang out. So it's a really cool networking camaraderie that you have with the teachers that you're teaching with. Jessie, what was your situation in South Korea?
Yeah, I was with this route, in terms of private language school, really because I was really set on Seoul. I was just, the second I started researching Seoul, I was like, this city looks incredible. I cannot wait to go there. I absolutely need to teach there. So I liked the idea of being able to apply directly to private language schools in the city. So I knew that I was going to be in the locations that I wanted. So I got hired with a private language school that was actually a pretty big chain in South Korea at the time. And I had, at one point, 15 other coworkers. And it's important to note that, these are people from all over the world, like Americans, Canadians. I had some colleagues from New Zealand, South Africa, Ireland, some of just the most hilarious, eclectic people you will meet in your life. And just like any job you've ever had, like, you instantly kind of become this family with your colleagues, travel buddies for sure. I still hang out with them and visit them all over the world all the time. So yeah, I really, really loved working at a private language school. Yeah, I had a great experience. And yeah, we're going to talk about JET, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are excited about. Chelsea, if you want to chime in here and tell everybody about your experience with JET, quite a different experience than Amanda and mine with private language schools.
Definitely. So the JET program is a lot different than I think what most English teachers are doing abroad, which is running your own class. What I did was co-teaching with a Japanese teacher of English in the school. And I was really surprised that the Japanese English teachers actually had a really awful level of English. I was in a rural area, and some of them it was even hard for me to communicate with, and they were English teachers. So they really, really want native, fluent English teachers coming from the US, Canada, Scotland, Australia, anywhere. They just want to have people that speak natively so that they can assist in classes. Some classes, the Japanese teacher ran a lot of the class and I was an assistant, and other classes I ran the class completely and they kind of stood in the back and just helped with translation. So I got a lot of different experiences, I think. And it was cool to have a little bit more guidance, I think. I was very nervous going into it, teaching on my own. So I liked that I would be co-teaching, and I think that's the draw of it. You do, have to work a little bit more, and you generally make a little bit less than if you teach privately at private schools. So those are some trade-offs, and I had a lot of friends that, they taught at private language academies and absolutely loved it. But it was great. It's a pretty competitive program. The application process, you apply in November, you don't start a job until July of the next year, so it's real long. But it's a program that's been around for I think about 30 years at this point. So it's a pretty well-oiled machine. They know what they're doing. The visa process is really smooth. And then on the slide, the very bottom, it mentions a company called Interact. That's kind of like plan B for if you're interested in the JET program, the way that that's structured. There's a private company called Interact that does similar things. The one thing to note with this is you do not get to choose where you're going. So if you have specific, cities in mind, you want to be in Tokyo or Kyoto or somewhere big, that's not going to happen. You're going to be somewhere a lot more rural and remote. So take that into consideration. You'll probably be in a city that you've never heard of, but that's kind of the fun of it.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of on to the EPIC program. So EPIC is very similar to JET. This is the most famous government program in Korea. So it's very similar to JET, but the Korean version. Just like Chelsea was saying, it's a good option if you're not overly picky about your location. And, if you want to have that paid vacation time, this is a nice option for you. But again, if you're set on a specific city, you're like, hey, I really want to be in Seoul, you probably would want to go the private language school route. But it's certainly something if you're like, I want to be the English teacher, perhaps you've maybe taught before, this is a nice option for you. Again, the big sell here too, paid vacation, more than a private language school would give you. So yeah, a lot of people like it. It kind of follows more of what you'd imagine a traditional school year to look like. So yeah, this is the EPIC program in South Korea.
Teaching online. Oh my gosh, you guys, so many of our alumni are teaching online. So technically it's not teaching in Asia, I suppose, although two of my favorite alumni, you may have seen them if you're checking out our Instagram, are currently touring their way through Asia, a few months in Thailand, one in Taiwan. I think now they're heading to Bali, and just teaching online. So it's a really great way to earn some extra money. Places like China or Korea, where you're already saving, maybe $1,000 a month, maybe you don't need to teach online to supplement it. Although, with my vacation habits, supplementing my income was almost a must because I got to see all of Asia. So it's definitely something that you can boost your income if you're working in Thailand or Vietnam or Cambodia, where cost of living is super low, and you're not saving quite as much money. It's kind of nice to add teaching online just to earn, maybe an extra $400 or $500 a month working from your apartment. So a lot of these companies that hire you for teaching online will pay somewhere around $20 an hour. And that goes pretty far in countries like Thailand and Vietnam, where the cost of living is really low. So a lot of these opportunities are actually with Asian students, so even though it's teaching online. So the time zones match up, and it makes it really easy to work that into your schedule. So really popular to do abroad, but you guys, it's also really awesome to start it before you go abroad. So if you're looking to save some startup money, if you want to have a little bit of extra cash before you go abroad, or even if you just want to have that set up, so by the time you go abroad and you're in a new country, it's one less new thing that you have to learn. Teaching online is just a great way to earn some cash.
Definitely. Yeah, I remember when I was in Vietnam, I feel like this kind of the side hustle culture was definitely more prevalent. Whereas in South Korea, I was like, I feel like I had a pretty good full schedule and I'm making really comfortable money that I didn't feel the need to pick up teaching English online hours or private tutoring. But Southeast Asia, I feel like this is super, super popular. So if you are looking at like Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, this very well might be something that you build in, to your day-to-day life. Yeah, so teaching English online, super, super popular now. We want to do a survey, and we're going to get into our kind of country by country rundown here in a second. Let's launch a poll. Yeah, perfect. So if you guys can pick a choice here, China, Japan, Korea, Thailand, where do you want to teach abroad or other? We couldn't fit them all on here. So pick your choice. Let's see what everyone has to say. Amanda, you're going abroad again to Asia. Where would you teach?
So in my head, I'm saying Cambodia. I've been thinking Cambodia for so long. It's such a cool culture. I don't know a ton about it. It's a really popular teaching market right now. But then I'm also looking at that picture of Thailand, and I'm not going to lie, sitting here in Chicago winter, that picture of the beaches in Thailand also look kind of nice. What about you, Jesse?
Oh man, I like change my mind on this so frequently. I would probably say maybe like Taipei, Taiwan. I visited my friend there who taught there. I loved it. It has awesome weather. It's like very tropical, which I think people don't realize. It's almost the same weather as like Jamaica. So Taiwan's a really cool place, super cheap. So yeah, let's see what we got. If you guys could share the results.
There they are.
All right.
South Korea. I think that's because you talked it up so much, Jesse. Wait till we get to China.
I know. I put a bias on the whole audience. Sorry, guys. Other definitely like to see that. We're going to run through some of the really popular options for teaching in Asia. Unfortunately, we did not fit them all on the presentation tonight because we'd be talking for a really long time. But yeah, Chelsea, if you could, she's going to paste in our full list, our country chart, which has all the Asian countries and really all the countries in general that we recommend you could teach in with your TEFL certification. So Chelsea's going to throw that to you guys in the chat, and we're going to go ahead and run through some of the really, really popular countries for teaching English in Asia. So first one we've talked quite a bit about is Cambodia. Cambodia is a great option for a lot of you here, surely. A BA is most definitely not required. It's a very low cost of living. It's just an inexpensive place in general to get around, to live, to travel, take a bus, whatever it may be. It's super, super cheap, I guess you could say, comparatively to say Bangkok or Hanoi even, or, I felt like Vietnam was so, so inexpensive compared to China or Korea, so Cambodia is even more affordable, really. So great option if you're over the age of 35, if you're 20, 19 even, let's say, so a little bit maybe on the younger end. Great option for you. We have on here very authentic experience. I think what we mean by that is you might be, the first English teacher that maybe the school's ever had, or maybe your students have ever had. So a very different experience, than maybe I had in Seoul, where my students had a million English classes before, and the English language school had hundreds of English teachers before me. So Cambodia is a very authentic experience in that you really are going to have a lot of, I'm sure, say in terms of the infrastructure of your class, just a lot more control over your experience in general, and just with the school. A lot of travel opportunities. I mean, Southeast Asia is a gold mine. If you have not been, you should add it to your list because it's out of this world. Just backpacking around Southeast Asia, there's an endless amount. Teaching English online, absolutely. If you do want to boost your income in Cambodia, and again, you're going to very much be making a local wage in all these different countries. So Cambodia is a great place just because teaching English online, you could easily be making, $20 an hour, let's say. So be living really, really comfortably in Cambodia by teaching online. So yeah, this is Cambodia. And Amanda and Chelsea, if you have anything to chime in on any of these countries, definitely feel free. Yeah.
I'm just waiting to get to China.
I guess to say, here you go.
There it
Yeah.
is. Look at that long list of amazing things that China offers. Um, so China is a huge country. So it has the largest job market in the universe. You want to teach in the South where it's warm and there are beaches, great. You want to teach in the mountains, awesome. You want to teach by rivers, by lakes, sweet. You got it. I taught up in the Northeast. And I think sometimes China gets a bad reputation for air quality or pollution. But you guys, I was teaching in Yantai, up in the Northeast. I looked out of my apartment. I saw the sea on the right and the mountains on the left. I went running by the water every morning. It was incredible. So whatever you want, as far as landscape goes, anyway, China definitely has that to offer, and the jobs to get you there for sure. Ability to save up to $1,000 per month. Of course, that's going to vary depending on where you are, but that was definitely my experience teaching in China. I also took on a whole bunch of side jobs because I wanted to travel extensively. I went to Thailand and Vietnam and Korea and Japan and a random trip to Germany. So you'll have some money to do all of those things. You guys, free airfare and housing, just like I hate to bring up Korea again because that's Jesse's thing, but just like with Korea, free airfare and housing is provided. It's really nice, especially with that long trip from the States that I was taking to China. It was nice to have that paid for. And same thing, somebody to pick me up at the airport and kind of bring me back to where I was teaching. Visas, super easy process. You're going to get that through your employer. You'll have the legal right to work there. So it's a pretty simple process. Before you go, you'll do all of the paperwork here in the States. They'll help walk you through that. You'll have an advisor here in Chicago that's going to help walk you through all of those steps. So that's something that is pretty straightforward. Tons of opportunity to travel. Like I said, I was all over the place, all over China, all over Asia. And that's really one of the reasons why I chose to go to Asia, because traveling, to Asia from the States, I only get, 2 weeks vacation, and that's not enough time to go see Asia. So I decided to move there. I saw a lot more of it that way. You can learn Mandarin. It's something a lot of the schools are teaching here, so some of you guys might already know a little bit. As you might have heard earlier, I knew 0 words when I got off the airplane in China, so you don't need to know it. But I learned very quickly that keywords and phrases are really important. So I became very fluent in taxi directions very quickly, and then kind of just added on from there. And then, of course, food. And I think I just ate my way through China. I've never loved street food more than I did in China. Everything comes on a stick or in a bag. So it's very portable while you're living there.
Woo. Yeah, definitely. I hear you. Chelsea, do you want to sell us all in Japan?
Japan is my second home on this earth. I had never been to Asia before. It was the first time. It was a very big leap of faith, and I just immediately fell in love. It was very easy for me to save money there. I was able to save, I was there for 2 years and I saved about $15,000, which was way more than I was going to make at an entry level job in the United States. So I was very happy with that. I thought the visa process was very smooth and easy. The hiring process, like everything was very well organized, and it was just very reflective of the Japanese culture. They're super organized. Everything is, done by the book, ABC. You're never guessing anything. It was very straightforward, and that totally suits my personality. And it was just the cleanest, most unbelievably polite culture. Like, there aren't any garbage cans anywhere. There's no garbage. You never see anybody's garbage because if you like are eating something or you're drinking something, people put it in their bags and take it home and like recycle it in the proper like vestibule. It was just ridiculously clean. And I read an article yesterday that was like some train conductor had to apologize to everybody at the station because the train was like 4.5 minutes late, which I was just like, that is unreal. People are mad because the train is 4 minutes late. Like, it's just unheard of. So it was so beautiful. It's a place where people just appreciate nature like no other. Every season, there's an opportunity to go outside and see the leaves changing or the cherry blossoms or the hydrangeas bloom in the rainy season. And there's just festivals and street food, and you get to dress up in kimono and stuff like that all year, for different sorts of festivals. So I had a fabulous time. I was worried I was going to have to leave early because I was so scared to move abroad. And I ended up staying 2 years. Like I said, I almost stayed 3. So I just totally fell in love. I still have so many friends there, and I go back often to visit.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I just traveled around Japan for like extensively for the first time, and the garbage cans things is a great point because I could not have imagined. Like, you're right. Like, you would like eat something and put it in your pocket. It's like
And
worried.
people don't, like, it's like kind of rude to even eat in public. So like you don't produce a lot of garbage. Like you go on a train, everybody's just sitting quietly. There's no weird smells. There's nobody else chewing. It was just like coming back to the United States was so hard for me.
Chicago CTA. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine if every train conductor had to apologize for being late in Chicago. There would be so many apologies.
We'd be even later. There's a lot of apologies. Oh my gosh. Korea follows suit with really Japan and China as well in a lot of ways. The ability to save, absolutely. Again, you really have to be doing something unbelievably extravagant to not be saving. Really, I would say about $1,000 a month. There was months, if I wasn't traveling like crazy, I was even saving a little bit more than that per month. And again, throwing almost all that towards student debt. In 2 years, I paid off like $15,000 of student loans, which at the time, I was like, this feels crazy. I'm traveling all over the place and I'm paying off debt. A lot of my friends are working in office jobs in the States, and they're not saving at all. So to be traveling and also saving and paying off debt just felt out of this world. Just like China, free airfare and housing provided through your employer. So like a furnished studio apartment, basically, just right down the street from my school is very much the norm. Nothing flashy, nothing fancy, but definitely has everything that you need. You're not going to be like shopping for home goods when you get there. Work visa through your employer, just like Japan and China. So this is a very straightforward kind of an admin process, really, that's done between you and your employer. Recruiters, this is a common thing you'll see, especially with Korea, where there's kind of a third party that's helping you find your job. Your advisor will absolutely be talking with you about this, and especially your job search advisor will throw some of these options at you too. I lived in Seoul. Busan would be kind of the second largest city in Korea. Exciting, rapidly growing, unbelievable technology. I remember going there like my first weekend, my coworkers were like, let's go see a movie. And you go buy your ticket and they're like, 3D or 4D? Like, what kind of movie, So you'd be seeing it and it'd be like smells and wind and, it was just like the craziest thing. So it's just a place where you will see just new technology forming, which I thought was really, really cool and exciting. The food's ridiculous. If you like Korean food, or even if you haven't tried it, you're just going to be blown away. Korean barbecue, dumplings galore, just like heaven in food, in my opinion, and very affordable and very cheap. I'm really into hiking, and so Korea, a lot of people maybe don't realize, is an awesome place for hiking and just outdoors in general. They're like obsessed with hiking. So yeah, there's Korea. I could keep talking for the next like 40 minutes about Korea. But yeah, here it is.
Well, moving right on to Taiwan. Jessie mentioned earlier that might be somewhere where she would want to go next, and I totally forgot it. It was off my radar. But Taiwan looks amazing. We had a couple alumni just do an Instagram takeover from Taiwan, so I got to see a little bit more of it. As she mentioned, subtropical island. It's pretty small, but very, very beautiful. You can still save up to, $500 per month after expenses. There is a program in Taiwan for some of you guys who have associate's degrees with that 2-year degree that you can teach in Taiwan. So that might be a really good option for some of you guys. Work visa is still sponsored by the employer. And as Jessie mentioned with South Korea, a lot of people go there because of the natural beauty, because there's a lot of opportunity to do some hiking. And Taiwan is very similar in that respect.
Yeah, definitely. Thailand, I'm sure some of you guys are interested in Thailand. The land of smiles. So if you like to smile, you should consider it. Ability to save up to $400 per month after expenses. Just like the others, work visa sponsored through your employer. We're seeing a lot of in-person interviews in Thailand. So this really isn't as crazy as it sounds. It's not like you're going to fly there, fly home, fly there, fly home. Like, it's very different than the US in that you're going to fly there, bring all your stuff, and really have worked with your job search advisor, which we're going to talk about in a second here. But work with our job search staff, have that plan, have the schools prepared that you're going to go interview with, and ultimately do that interview and start working really more or less right away. So this is very common in Thailand, and it's a great way to make sure that you can see the school, meet the staff, get to know your colleagues, and be like, okay, this is somewhere that I really do want to work. Endless travel opportunities. I can't really say enough. Every weekend you could go on a different adventure and never run out. Like, this is a place for travelers, for adventurers, no doubt about it. The most beautiful beaches you've maybe ever seen. Just seriously, a million things to do in Thailand, no doubt. The food, again, I know we've talked a lot about food because we really like food. And this is another place, like Amanda was saying, just like everything you can imagine is like on a stick, and it just tastes really, really good. Vietnam, I don't know why I should have put a picture of me on a motorbike on this slide, but Vietnam is a really, really kind of place that gets grouped in a lot with Thailand, a lot with Cambodia. This is a really, really exciting place to live. In my opinion, a very authentic place to teach. I was teaching in Hanoi, which quite frankly could not have been more opposite than my experience in Seoul. Teaching in Seoul, South Korea looked like I was in Chicago or New York. It's skyscrapers, looks like a modern, really, really clean, nice city. Vietnam, very third world, very, not nearly as big of an expat and foreigner community, but nonetheless, the people are just fantastic. The food is just ridiculous. You can save $600 per month easily. The cost of living is very, very low. You could get a beer for $0.25. You could get a really, really good meal for $3, $4. My rent in the heart of Hanoi was like $200 a month. So it's a place that maybe they're not providing your housing or providing your airfare, but again, on a teacher's salary, you're still living extremely, extremely well. Very popular place for private tutoring and teaching English online, just because, again, the cost of living is super low. So you're like, hey, I'm making $20 an hour teaching online. Like, I could pay my rent in a week. So it really, really is a place that you could do really well. Work visa also sponsored through your employer. So this is Vietnam, just similar to Thailand, just beautiful, beautiful country. Cannot say enough about it, especially if you really are looking for this adventure. Vietnam is a great place. Sorry, we're kind of moving quick here. We do want to make sure to wrap up and have some time for questions. So we do want to run through some options for TEFL certification classes in Asia, and as they relate to teaching English in Asia, just your timelines and considerations and things like that. So the first one I want to talk about is our online class. This is the way I got TEFL certified. This is an 11-week part-time class. So if you're working full-time, if you're a full-time student, this is a great way to kind of multitask and ultimately, get TEFL certified while you're still saving and planning. You can be taking care of some of that documentation for teaching in Asia while you're getting TEFL certified online. So really, this class is going to be recognized anywhere you go in Asia. It's not better or worse than our in-person classes we're going to talk about in a second. It's just a different way of getting TEFL certified. A big thing to note, is you will need to do some practice teaching, 20 hours of practice teaching with this online class. Talk with your advisor if you're interested in this class. This is about 80% of our students take this class. Great way, to get TEFL certified, multitask, and just get your adventure started in a really economical way. Chelsea, Amanda, anything to add about the online class?
The online class, as you mentioned, is just, it's really flexible. So, while there are assignments and you're held accountable, that's always what I look for in an online class, or else I'll wait till the last minute to do everything. So you're definitely still held accountable, but it really does fit in most people's schedule. You can kind of carve out, on average of about 10 hours per week.
Yeah, definitely. So this is the online class, and let's go to the in-person class here. Amanda, if you want to tell everyone about these.
Yeah, so the other option is the in-person classes. So we'll start with the ones in the US and then move over to Asia for a little bit. again, going to move through this a little quickly because I know we're running short on time, but we do have 3 in-person US TEFL classes. So if you, live by any of these cities, or you're traveling, or you want to travel to any of them, really great options. Of course, our favorite is going to be the Chicago course, because all of us as advisors are right across the hallway. So it's always fun to meet our students and help you guys get abroad. The in-person classes, just, a quick note on all of the in-person classes. They're all 4 weeks long. It is a full-time class. So Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 or so each day. It's like taking a college semester and shoving it into 4 weeks. So there is, homework in the or after class. And then usually in about the second week or so, you'll do some of that in-person teaching. They'll bring students in from the community to do some of that practice teaching while you're in the classroom. So those are our US classes, but we also have in-person Asia classes. So those in-person classes, we have classes in Thailand, we have 2 classes in Vietnam, and then we also have a class in Cambodia. These are great options if you are looking to kind of speed up your departure. 4 weeks is a lot shorter than 11 weeks. You can make some friends in the class before you actually start teaching. This is a really great option if you're looking to teach in one of these countries. Those 4 week classes, those in-person classes, because they're super intense, you're not doing a lot of exploring the country while you're in it for those 4 weeks, but it is a really nice way to get acclimated before you teach there if you're looking to teach in one of those countries.
Yeah, definitely. I think the big thing to note with the online versus the in-person class, a lot of the Asia, especially if you're looking at China, Korea, Taiwan, somewhere that you're interviewing from the US, it definitely makes a lot of sense to maybe do the online class and do those interviews and take care of all the paperwork and all the visa stuff from your home country and then head overseas. If you are like, hey, I know I want to teach in Chiang Mai, then definitely it makes a lot of sense to maybe go take the class in person in Chiang Mai, transition into a job. So that's kind of a big thing that we talk about with people that are like, hey, I don't know what class I want. So if you aren't sure exactly on location, the online class definitely makes a lot of sense, and especially makes sense if you are going to be doing that in-person interviewing and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, free airfare. Take advantage.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes a lot of sense, and it's just a lot more affordable. Again, I wish we could talk about these classes in a little bit more detail, but your advisor is going to talk your ear off as well. So there's that. Cool. So talking about our job search guidance, I don't think I could say enough good things about our student affairs department and our job search guidance here at ITA. We don't just like give you your diploma, your TEFL, and we're just like, bye, good luck with whatever you're doing. Like, wholeheartedly, we send around in our work company chat every day, like, guess what? Jesse's student got a job teaching at this school in this country. Like, we get super excited to hear where our alumni are going. We want to see your photos. We want you to take over our Instagram and show everybody what you're up to. So we really, really love to work with you on the back end and help you find a job. So what does this look like? Resume and cover letter assistance, so helping make sure that your job search materials highlight your TEFL class, highlight your experience that's related, and make sure that's what employers in these countries are used to seeing. Your job search advisor is going to know you. You're going to work with the same advisor start to finish so that they will be familiar with your situation and make sure that you're on the right timeline and help you make sure that you're not missing any documentation, all that good stuff. We do job search guidance webinars, just like we're doing this one, and really just any resource you can imagine. Our job search guidance manual really breaks down country by country, anything you could possibly need, documentation, requirements, packing lists, apps you should get, everything. So they'll be there to kind of guide you through country by country, even city by city, help you navigate that job search, find a job that's right for you, look over your job search contract, your job contract, and make sure that you're accepting a job that's a good fit for you based on what you're looking for. And I think one thing I'll close with here is we're here to help you for life. Just like myself, I was in South Korea and then wanted to continue teaching in Vietnam, got back in touch with my job search advisor. They helped me plan that transition to Hanoi. So this is really what we do. We're here to help you indefinitely. We hope that you country hop all over the world. Always get in touch with us with questions. You're always our alumni. We're always happy to hear from you and help you, and hopefully see all your photos and all that cool stuff too. Chelsea, Amanda, anything to add on our job search guidance?
Just take advantage of it. There's so much support out there from our student affairs advisors, from our alumni that are teaching abroad. Any question that you have about how to get a job or housing, or honestly, like where to get a pizza when you're homesick, you have just so many people to answer questions for you from our student affairs advisors through our alumni network.
Definitely. So to wrap up here, and again, I'm sorry that we're like speeding like crazy. You'll get a recorded version of this as well, so you can hear us talk fast again. But next steps. We've talked so much and given you a lot of information about the requirements to teach in Asia, the types of jobs, countries, TEFL classes, job search guidance. So I'm sure Chelsea's been typing like crazy. So yeah, we want to make sure that you've got all your questions answered. And again, I know we've covered a lot of information here this evening, but we'll leave you with this, talk with your advisor, because we have not said that enough times. Get TEFL certified, experience the world as a paid English teacher in Asia. As you, I'm sure, can tell, the three of us are just extremely passionate about our experiences in Asia. We loved it. It's the best thing I've ever done by far. We're pretty confident that would be the best thing for you too. So yeah, we're here to help you. We're happy and eager to help you. So yeah, talk with us, let us help you, and we can't wait to see all of your exciting adventures. So yeah, to kind of wrap us up here, we have a survey. I know it's very exciting. Chelsea, if you could send that to everybody, we would love to know what you thought of the webinar. It's our first Asia webinar, so we would really value and appreciate your feedback. It takes like a minute. So hold on to that till after we're done, but save that. We would really like to hear from you about how we did. So Chelsea's gonna send that to you guys. And very exciting, Chelsea, after you send the survey link, we would love to know if we have a raffle winner on Instagram or Facebook. I don't know why Facebook's not on here.
We do. So I have used the randomizer, and I have a winner for the $100 off of their TEFL course. And that is, I'm going to probably butcher your last name, so I apologize, but it is Danielle Splonskowski. From Iowa. I pulled your name, so I will be sending you a follow-up email after this. Look out for that, and we'll give you a coupon code for your $100 off.
Awesome. Congratulations. And again, everyone else, thanks for entering. Again, Instagram and Facebook were both included in this. And yeah, thanks for that. So live Q&A. I know we are literally 1 hour on the dot. So if you have to like step out, that is totally okay. You're going to get a recording, but we do want to make sure to get some of the really big questions here. So Chelsea, if you want to share those with us, you got it. If you have to go, that's okay. But if you can hang with us, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so for everybody, if I didn't answer, there's a few questions I think still left in here, and I'm still going for them. But if I didn't answer your question, feel free to reach out to your advisor specifically, and that's our whole job, is to answer questions. So I hope I was able to get to most of them. But some, that a lot of people were asking was, basically like about past experience, past teaching experience. Is Asia a good place if you're like a first-time teacher and you don't have any sort of experience whatsoever?
I think so. For a few reasons. First of all, that's what our job is for, providing the TEFL certification. Is our job is to train you as a teacher. And I think if you talk to our alumni who are teaching abroad, they'll tell you that they felt prepared. I think Jesse used the word confident earlier, very confident in the classroom. But I loved teaching in Asia. I think there's very enthusiastic learners in Asia, especially when you're teaching little kids. So they're actually really forgiving and really excited. So I think it is a really good place to start, especially if you don't have that experience, because with the little kids, you play a lot of games, you sing a lot of songs. So they're really, happy that you're there.
Yeah, and I'm chiming in on that one. It was definitely a place where it's quite a dynamic shift from like learning here in the US, but my students were like itching to learn. Like they were excited. It was always just a matter of like coming up with new ways to challenge them, new ways to to kind of puzzle them and get them thinking in a different way. You really, and I think another thing to note is if you don't have any teaching experience, I really had the first time I officially was an English teacher was teaching abroad. Again, did my practice teaching, but this was my first time as an English teacher. Is the schools in Asia, typically are very, very established, especially China, Japan, Taiwan, Korea. These schools have been in business for 30, 40, 50 years. So they've got an established curriculum. So it's not like you're going into the class every day and you're lesson planning from scratch every day. Could you imagine? No. So a lot of, this is very much, they had a guide for what each day should look like. And at that point, you were kind of lesson planning off of that. That was really what my day looked like. So it was a great, great place to transition into being a teacher. Whereas in Vietnam, I did have a lot more responsibility. So yeah, Asia is an awesome place as a first-time teacher, be it for teaching literally or for also just the social aspect too.
Okay, and then another one, I had a lot of questions on this, and this is a hard one to answer, so it may be, better for advisors to answer it. So I'll give it a shot. But a lot of people were asking about age discrimination in Asia, that they've heard that it'd be more difficult to get hired if you're a more mature teacher, and that is true to some extent. There is a preference for a lot of places to be hiring teachers in their 20s or 30s. And that could be due to cultural norms and, the idea that if you're older than the principal of your school, it's culturally awkward for them because they want to defer seniority to you. If you're 55 and the principal's 51, it just is a weird situation. So it's sometimes just a funny cultural thing. It really depends on the country. It doesn't mean that you can't teach in Asia. If you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, it just means that, you may want to be more flexible and patient with your search. You may want to target, specific countries. Southeast Asia tends to not care as much as, say, Korea, for example, as far as the age of their teachers. But it's definitely something that you want to talk to your advisor a little bit more about, and they can give you more detail.
Yeah, definitely. And like Chelsea was saying, there are some countries where it's a law. It's a law in order to qualify for the visa that you need to be under a certain age, typically associated with whatever the country's retirement age is. So it's not so much that the teachers are like, oh, you're too old to teach. No, it's a government, it's a rule.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you look in Southeast Asia, and again, definitely there are opportunities and there are exceptions and there are ways to go around it. So definitely. Everyone's situation is different, and we very much understand that. So we're happy to chat with you about it and set realistic expectations and run through some options that could work for you if you are over the age of 35, let's say.
Okay, and then another one that a lot of people asked was language, and this was something I thought too. Do you have to know the language of the country you're teaching in? So did you guys know Korean and Vietnamese and Mandarin Chinese when you were going over and teaching?
I mean, I think I mentioned a little earlier, I literally didn't know one word. I should have at least learned like hello in Mandarin, but it's definitely not something that you need to know. You're actually not, they don't want you to speak it in the classroom so that your students can't rely on their own language, and they really have to learn English. So in the classroom, absolutely full immersion. But it is nice to pick up some things while you're there so that, in China, bargaining for everything, vegetables and clothes, is a big part of their culture. So the more Mandarin I knew, the cheaper I could get things.
Yeah, I mean, like Amanda was saying, my parents thought they were being the best, and they got me like a Korean language, like a book to learn. And before I went, and so I remember opening it up and seeing hello was like 16 letters long. And I was like, okay, well, we'll just have to wait, So I didn't know any Korean at all, and I did not know any Vietnamese. And when I really kind of dug into it when I was in Korea, there's a lot of really good apps actually for a lot of these countries to help you learn the basics. I learned how to read and write Korean after a few months of being there. So it's definitely something that it's not required. My classes were always full English immersion. You were not speaking the local language, even if you could. So don't worry about that. They're hiring you because you're a professional English teacher. So that's all good. But yeah, like Amanda was saying earlier, just socially, it's really, really nice for taxis and bargaining and just general direction and getting around. It's really, really nice to know it. And you will pick it up. You're hearing it and seeing it every day. So yeah, that's that.
Okay, and I think we'll do one more question. And that relates to timelines. So I just got a couple of these and I had a few throughout the time. When should I get started? Or if I want to teach abroad in Asia, like what kind of timeline should I be planning for? I know for the JET program, we said it's a long one, about 10 months, but generally if you're working for a private school, what timelines do we recommend?
I always recommend somewhere, 6 to 9 months, depending on where it is that you want to go. Sometimes paperwork takes a little bit of time. Sometimes researching the schools that you want to teach at takes a little bit of time. I always recommend getting started right away. That gives you just a lot more options for when it is that you can leave. Since uh, Asia hires year round. Sometimes once you start that TEFL class, you want to go right away. once you're in the class and it becomes real and it becomes something you're doing, sometimes timelines in your head speed up a little bit. So you just don't want things holding you back. So as soon as you know that this is something for you, get started with all of that job search guidance, get started with communicating with alumni, but definitely give yourself some time, because it does take a little bit of time, specifically if you're interviewing before you go over.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is like this certification, whether you do it in person or online, it never expires. So you cannot take your class too soon. I was that person. I'm like, my lease is ending. I just want to get out of here. I hate this job. So I took the online class and I was start to finish probably overseas in like 4.5 months. And that was really, I don't know if you could do it faster than that for going to like South Korea, especially where you need to do that FBI background check that can take 2-3 months. So give yourself, yeah, like Amanda said, 6 to 9 months is very much kind of a norm that we would throw out there. Could you speed it up? Yes, it's not for everybody, but technically, as soon as you do start your online TEFL class, for example, you can start working with your job search staff. You can, start working on your job search and looking at schools and starting that documentation and all that. So it's possible to speed it up, but again, there's absolutely no reason why, if you're like, I am doing this for sure, there's no reason why you shouldn't get started with it. And if nothing else, it helps you commit to it and helps be like, okay, this is something I'm really doing. I'm going to tell all my family and friends, like I've committed to this and this is real, which I think we would all agree is a really, really big step. So yeah, Chelsea, anything to add to that?
No, I think you guys covered it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sticking with us, everybody. 10 minutes late again. Sorry that we ran a little bit long. There's so much information in here. So hopefully, you found this helpful and wrote down a whole bunch of notes and questions for your advisor that they'll be excited to talk with you tomorrow and the rest of the week. So yeah, hopefully you've got a whole bunch of notes in front of you. If not, don't worry. You're getting a recording in about an hour, so you can just tune in again. It's going to be great. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Have an awesome evening. Chelsea and Amanda, thank you so much for helping out. Anything else to add, guys?
No, this was so fun. It was so exciting to talk about Asia for an hour. You guys get in touch with your advisor. They have so much more information to help you, to get you started, and definitely to get you where you want to go.
Yeah, and if you don't, I know some of you were asking who your advisor is. If you don't know, they should be the ones who were sending you these emails about the webcast. But if not, respond to any of the emails you get from us, even the info at, and just say, can you let me know who my advisor is? And someone will respond to you. Talking to the advisor is really the most beneficial thing you can do. You can get all of your really specific questions answered. I know I just saw someone was asking about taking a pet that I'm going to try to answer, but that's like a really good example. We can answer those questions. So get in touch with your advisor, get in touch with us as a company, ask who your advisor is, and you'll get all your questions answered.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Have a really good evening, and hopefully this has inspired you to take the first jump and go teach abroad. So yeah, have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.